It is my profound honor to introduce David Berle Carman.
Welcome all, and thank you to everyone that came out to Hardwick to celebrate this occasion. And congratulations to the class of 2016. Before Eagle Hill, my high school experience had been dismal. I'd had little to no academic success and no clear vision of what that would even look like. My passions then included skiing, hiking, and farming, the last of which was the only venue where I had been praised for my success. I had never known much success in the classroom, even when I put in as much effort as I could, so eventually I stopped putting in effort. My mother was convinced about my lack of motivation in class and was searching for conditions to better support me as an individual and a student. In the summer of 2013, she took me on a visit to EHS. I had seen so many uninspiring schools that I had decided I was uninterested even before I arrived. At the insistence of my mother, I went to visit anyway. I couldn't imagine being in a learning environment that I enjoyed. I felt that I was wasting my time. However, walking around campus, that started to change. We saw the wood shop and heard about the process for the student mosaic by the box office. More than any single room or picture, the celebration of the students was unlike any place I had visited before. Mr. Harvard brought me into his office for an interview, where he told me about the student art on his wall, and we discussed Neil Young's autobiography. Hearing him talk about the art, I could sense the connections he had made with the students. This intuition turned out to be correct. 4 weeks later, I was enrolled. I was feeling positive, but nervous. We drove back up again, and I met Dr. Riendo for the first time. We talked about my passions, which led to the summers I had spent farming, and he told me about the cows that he had recently lost. To my amazement, he asked for my advice. That was the first connection with the man who would later be my advisor, and I came away surprised that he had shown an interest in my experience and recommendations. I was also distressed that a man in such a responsible position at the school couldn't handle 2 cows. When I arrived in September, it took all the courage I had just to step on campus. I didn't know what to expect, and I knew no one, and I had never really felt at home in an academic environment before. All of my positive experiences had been outside, so I expected to go to a trade school for agriculture or carpentry. I knew that I was going to a school for students with learning differences, but I had no idea what that would look like in a classroom. After a few weeks, I began to find an academic comfort zone at Eagle Hill. I now had access to a formal infrastructure that helped me to get my work done, and informal connections that made me want to turn in good work. The teachers cared about my ideas, and they held me accountable for turning in thoughtful material. Mr. Myra helped me translate my experience on the farm to school, and I took woodshop every term that year. In other schools, I had seen support used as an adjective to describe a room where I could get extra help during my study hall. I now saw it as an action that was apparent in every part of the day. I could tell that my teachers truly cared that I was learning. Mr. Hancock can also tell you about the carpentry around his car. Over the 3 years that I have spent at Eagle Hill, I have found myself more and more comfortable in the classroom setting, and I'm enjoying learning. I've been introduced to Ayn Rand, Ernest Hemingway, and Ta-Nehisi Coates, and I love it. But it isn't just that I love the authors and what they write. It is the way that they make me think, and how the teachers are able to draw that out of me with thoughtful questions and assignments. It is a classroom experience that had previously been entirely foreign to me. And as I have embraced the classroom setting, I've been able to go farther outside of my comfort zone. And as a result, I made more connections with teachers. After Ms. Pallant introduced me to Ernest Hemingway, a dialogue was sparked, and we began recommending books to each other. Eventually, I got comfortable enough to ask to use her hot water kettle to make coffee, which I used daily for the second half of the year. So this, along with the daily jaunts to the orchard for apples in the fall, solidified for me that Eagle Hill was not just a school, but a home. I began to notice that I wasn't the only one affected by the support of the EHS community. The longer people spend here, the kinder they are to others. This manifests itself in study sessions, spontaneous frisbee games, and late-night trips to the Cumberland farms down the road for iced coffee and snacks. You always knew when your friends were going to be off campus because they always offered to pick you something up while they're gone. In this way, students reflect the care given to them by the staff back onto each other, often subconsciously. Here at Eagle Hill, each and every person is known and cared for by our teachers and classmates from every grade. As we look ahead at the paths in front of us for the next 4 years, let's look back on what makes our experiences at Eagle Hill so positive, and reflect about what we can take from this experience to influence our actions and decisions in college and beyond. In the end, the connections that students make with the faculty and staff and with each other are what make Eagle Hill so special. And that knowledge is our greatest tool for what lies ahead. Let us go forward continuing to take care of ourselves and the people in our lives. Thank you.
The Eagle Hill faculty, board of trustees, your fellow classmates, we'd like to give you this small token of our appreciation. It says David Berle, Carman, student commencement speaker, Eagle Hill School, June 4th, 2016.